I need to do another update. It's a nighttime video. I hope this turns out all right. I'm gonna do an update here because in the previous video I did in the morning, I talked about Telegram and how it's the go-to app for everything that's going on in Ukraine. And then we got a story that came out from the Telegram CEO who said that he's Pavel Durov, that's his name, Pavel Durov, who said that he's going to start to limit access to Ukraine and Russia for Telegram because of concerns that he has with a lot of misinformation on the app. But as I was preparing to do this video and relay it out to everybody, the information from Telegram, that now they're going to start to limit access to what's going on in Ukraine and channels that are reporting on Ukraine and Russia. The CEO, Mr. Durov, came out again and gave a statement saying that a lot of channels and users started to express their concern that Telegram's going to start to censor channels that are trying to report what's going on, and he backtracked. That's the latest update on what's going on with Telegram. And he said, okay, we're not going to remove channels that are reporting on Ukraine and Russia, but he said in his statement that he urges everyone to be careful with the information they get because there's a lot of misinformation going around. So that's the latest on Telegram. Facebook, Twitter, a lot of big tech, they're censoring. It seems like they're censoring everything with regards to Russia and Ukraine. Specifically what they're doing, and this also includes RT as well, is they're stopping any broadcasting, which is, let's say, Russian state media or pro, like Russian state media pretty much actually at this point. I was going to say like pro-Russia info, but that's inaccurate. I would say that what they're doing right now is they're stopping access of Russian state media in Ukraine. I believe that is the accurate news of what's happening. So like Twitter, Facebook, Google, YouTube, they're stopping Russian state media from monetizing their channels, and they're cutting their broadcasting, their ability to broadcast in Ukraine. And that's also true of RT as well. RT is being cut off, not only in Ukraine, but the latest reports are that von der Leyen has now said that RT and Sputnik, actually RT and Sputnik news, are going to be banned throughout the EU. Isn't it interesting that it's interesting that the Russians have gone into Ukraine and they've been very careful as they've gone in. Like Gonzalo Lira says, they've tiptoed into Ukraine. They're very careful to keep the internet intact, the telecommunications intact, water, electricity, all that stuff. But they've been very careful to keep the internet intact, right? So the internet is working throughout. People can use Telegram and they can access YouTube, all these things. And the people that are actually now cutting off the internet in Ukraine, it's not the Russian military, it's the EU and big tech. it's just so, upside down. I mean, it really is upside down. It's a red light, but I'm going to cross it here. All right. Made it. It's like Russia is in the country and they don't cut the internet. They leave it open and free, open and free. Everyone's on it. And the people that are cutting the internet is big tech and the EU in Ukraine. It's astonishing. And now they're going to censor in Europe. So, when they're starting to censor RT in all of Europe, and Ursula von der Leyen made like this very emotional statement, we're going to stop their lies. When they're censoring a media outlet, they're panicking. They're panicking. There's no doubt about that. It's terrible that they're moving to censor because, they were winning the media war, if you want my opinion. If you go to like Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and, all the news and all the publications, Daily Mail, everything is, pro Europe, pro Ukraine, pro everything, right? It's on their side. Pro US, pro Biden, everything. The entire media war was on their side. But now that they're censoring, it's like they want to lose the media war as well, because the minute you start to censor in Europe, Russian outlets, it's like you're saying we're losing. I really don't get the logic of it. So that's what's going on there with all the media stuff. Very interesting developments. Real quick, supposedly there's going to be negotiations. There's going to be teams. It's not going to be Putin and Zelensky, but it'll be teams of negotiators that are going to go to Belarus. From what I understand, it's going to be Minsk, and they're going to have unconditional talks and see what comes out of it. Let's see what's going to come out of it. Ukraine has already come out with a statement saying they're not going to surrender and they're not going to give 1 inch of land. Russia hasn't said anything, so they've remained quiet on it. They just said that they're willing to sit down and talk. So we got that. A lot of people are talking about the weapons that NATO countries are starting to pour into Ukraine. Does it mean anything? I don't know. You know, my hunch is that whatever weapons going to Ukraine are just going to end up in Russian hands. I mean, I guess you can move them via Poland to the west, and you can start to build up the Azov battalion, the neo-NAZIs, start really, arming them and giving them weapons so that they're armed to the teeth when Russia does decide to, when the Russians do decide to focus on Lviv and on the west, which from what I understand, they haven't started yet. Their campaign in the west, but that's just what I understand. So maybe they're arming them to the teeth for, one big final standoff, maybe. But my feeling there is that this is just more for optics, I guess. They just kind of want to show that they're standing with Ukraine. Number one, maybe they want to flood Ukraine with weapons so that it just becomes chaotic. Or the weapons are just going to end up in Russian hands. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that weapons end up in the enemy's hands for the United States in this situation. We remember Afghanistan. So, I don't know what the results of that are going to be. I mean, I know that any trucks, that any weapons that are going to try to get to the front lines, like past Lviv and to get to where the fighting and action is, I mean, they're just going to get blown apart or captured by the Russian army because they pretty much control all the highways from west to east. So, yeah, I'm trying to think if I have any other updates that I want to relay to everybody. I think that's it. I don't think I have anything else. What's going on? From what I understand, the East Ukraine army, as I said in my morning update, they're surrounded. They're trying to retreat actually, but they have nowhere to go. So the armies in the east are surrounded. Oh, the Donetsk and Lugansk armies, they're moving rapidly west. The Russian military of defense and the Lugansk and Donetsk military said they've gained 56 kilometers inwards. They've moved 56 kilometers from the contact line into west, 56 kilometers west. To where the Ukraine military was positioned. So they've gained a lot of ground. That's the narrative. That's a different narrative that you're hearing. In the West, in the Western mainstream media, you're hearing that the Ukrainians are putting up a very stiff and a very tough fight, and they're slowing the Russian progress down. While in, let me move here one sec. While in the Russian media and from the Russian military of defense, they're saying that they're moving very quickly. By the way, one thing that I did read is that the Russian military of defense, they've kind of got a policy where they're like double and triple checking all the news that's coming out before they make any announcements. So they're being very, very careful. That's another thing that you're seeing. The Western mainstream media is, putting out news by the truckload, and a lot of it is just completely fake. Where the Russian Ministry of Defense is putting out news very, very slowly, and it's very scarce, their updates, because they've put out orders throughout the entire communications apparatus that the Russian state has. They put out orders that everything has to be double, triple, quadruple checked before they make statements. So that's just another thing to keep an eye out. The military of defense in Russia is pushing out news slowly. The West is pushing out news at a phenomenal pace. And so, you have that as well. Anyway, that's the video, everybody. I want to make this a quick update. Take care.